the Shark Deck.
We are running out of summer, my friends. Hi, I'm Johnny Mac with your daily comedy news. Westworld profiled Michele Wolf. She'll have a new special out next week. Back in 2016, Michele had to juggle Daily Show duties while going on tour. That tour eventually became her 2017 HBO special, Nice Lady. Michele said, I wanted to do that hour 100 times before I taped it. So I spent part of 2016 and most of 2017 touring it. I worked at The Daily Show Monday through Thursday. Then on Thursday, I'd leave to go to whatever club I was performing at that weekend. I'd do shows Thursday, Friday, and Saturday, fly home Sunday, and go back to work at The Daily Show on Monday. It was definitely a grind, but it was also my first comedy special, and I was doing it for HBO, which was such an honor, so I really wanted to do it justice, and I'm glad I did, because I'm really happy with the final product. Michele Wolf then talked about doing the 2018 White House Correspondents' Dinner. That put her in the national spotlight. Sure did. And she said, when they first asked me to do it, I was a little hesitant because I didn't know what kind of jokes I could write for these people. I took a couple days to see what I could come up with. And after those first couple days, I was like, all right, I think I got the hang of what I want to do. I'll be able to do something interesting and fun. I had a great time. I think it's easy to tell jokes about people that aren't in the room. It's hard, but ultimately very fun to tell jokes about people who are in the room, especially when they deserve to be joked about. She maintains that the Correspondents' Dinner was misrepresented in the media. Michele said, they said I only went after the right, which I clearly didn't. I went after the right and the left, but most importantly, I went after the media itself because the media is just doing a disservice to us all and not actually providing us with good news. I don't mean good as in happy news. I mean accurate news. I feel like journalism doesn't really exist in the news media environment, and everybody's just listening to what they want to hear and not what's actually happening. Everyone has a big bias, and I really think all the media, every major outlet is doing a huge disservice to us as a society. Vanya Land spoke to Iliza Schlessinger, who said, I always want women to leave my shows feeling good, but it's never at the expense of men. This is a show for young women, couples, and everybody on every spectrum, because at the end of the day, stand-up is about being human, and I have a really energetic act, so I feel like it'll lend itself perfectly to a space like an arena. There's a lot of physicality in it. Distilled fun that people like about my act. There's voices, body movement, things take a weird direction. I pride myself on the fact that a fan once told me that my brand is consistently off-brand, and I like that. I like setting up a joke and taking it to a different place. This is one of those hours where you strap in for it, and before you know it, it's over. I like the idea of people leaving the arena and trying to figure out why their face hurts, in a good way, of course. The Late Night Guys have their new Strike Force 5 podcast. In the premiere, Jimmy Kimmel revealed that he was considering retiring when the strike began. Kimmel said, I was very intent on retiring right around the time when the strike started. Now I realize, oh yeah, it's kind of nice to work. You know, when you're working, you think about not working. Kimmel also revealed that Ben Affleck and Matt Damon contacted him and offered to pay the staff for 2 weeks, a week each. They wanted to pay them out of their own pocket. Kimmel declined. He said, I felt that was not their responsibility. Stephen Colbert said, couldn't you say yes and then give your money to us? Mark Norman enjoys interacting with the fans. At the end of his hour, he'll ask the fans to give him some news topics. Mark Norman said, I only did it because I needed content for the internet. I didn't want to burn material. It's a perfect way to get a Hunter Biden riff out there, or a Trump riff, or a submarine sinking riff. I'll never put that in my act because it's a submarine. It's topical. It comes and goes. It's a perfect way to get material for the internet, and hopefully it's still funny and you don't have to burn your act. I've been doing it for years, and I got pretty good at it. I thought, let's open the special with that, because I don't think I've seen anyone do that yet. Opening a special with talking with the crowd, it worked. Pulls you in. Las Vegas Weekly asked Nicole Byer, what's the most surprising place you've ever been hit on before? Nicole said, this is hard, because sometimes I don't know when I'm being hit on. I was just hit on the airport by like a 60-year-old man in a neck brace. The whole situation was weird. I thought I fell in love in Denver because this guy was flirting with me at the sandwich shop. Then I invited him to my show. Then he brought his girlfriend, so I was like, oh, maybe he was just trying to sell me a sandwich. Real quick, at the beginning of the month, I'd like to thank those who are the members on buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. So thank you, Tommy, Amy, Gary, Shannon, Mike, and Kenny for your monthly contributions. If you'd like to support the show, please support my advertisers, DraftKings and Factor. Thank you for supporting this week's episodes. The Factor boxes are really fantastic, by the way, for real. I'm like, oh, I'm hungry and I get one of those out. You just heard the commercial. I'll shut up. Buymeacoffee.com/dailycomedynews. You can even join the $2 club, just $2 a month. It adds up over time. Much appreciated, everybody. CBN spoke to John Crist, who said, everybody in the King's Court would say, you look good, you're doing the best, you're incredible, everything's great. And then the jester was the guy who'd come in and kind of make fun of everything. It was done in a way that was therapeutic and helpful, not to tear anybody down. Every video I've ever made, obviously we ruffle some feathers every now and then, but my hope would be that the person we're making the joke about would laugh at it and still think it's funny, and 99% of the time, that's what happens. His latest video is called Every Christian Music Video, and it points to elements found in almost every Christian music video. John said, there's always some kind of disagreement or argument. The guy leaves the house, the guy has some kind of transformation process, and then he comes back home, and everyone's forgiven and healed and restored in like 2 minutes and 30 seconds. Never really gets into what's going on. He just kind of sees a cross in the clouds or something like that and comes home. Andrew Dice Clay will be in a new movie. He will play a high school basketball coach. Yeah, It's called Warrior Strong, which follows a suspended pro basketball player who must work alongside his old coach, played by Andrew Dice Clay, in order to restore his image and bring a ragtag team of high school basketball players back together on the court. Does that not sound like a movie that should star Adam Sandler? Did Sandler pass on that one? What's going on there? Adam Corolla spoke to the LA Downtown News and said, as my fans know, my parents were too lazy to give me a middle name, so when it came time to get my license, I just threw Lakers in there on a whim. I'm an LA guy, so it made sense. Still waiting for those season tickets, though. Maybe I'll change it to Clippers next time I have to renew. Podcasting's in my blood. My father was a podcaster. My grandfather was a podcaster. My great-grandfather was podcasting on a steamer from Italy on its way to Ellis Island, so of course I grew up wanting to be a podcaster. From DC-ist, a DC comedian is bringing funny Arabs to the Kennedy Center. Rola Zarour is known professionally as Rola Z. Born in Lebanon, she was forced to leave her home during its civil war and grew up in Greece. Years later, she experienced a revolution and coup d'etat when she was living in Egypt. Then she moved to DC, and her marriage failed, and she was laid off from her job. So she became a comedian. Rola Z said, I was like, there's nothing left to do but get into comedy because no one goes to comedy when they're happy, right? She was doing a show during Veterans Appreciation Week, and pay attention here. I just said, any veterans? Oh, thank you for everything you do for us. Without you guys, I wouldn't be here today. There'd be no wars in the Middle East. She just kept going. Last week, a guy took me on a unique dining experience. It's called Dinner in the Dark. I walk in, I get nostalgic. This is like my childhood during the war. There's no electricity, but surprise, we found bread. So she's now producing Funny Arabs. I wanted to see Arab-American comedians and showcase their talent, but also tell our diverse story. It was really important to me to showcase the diversity of what it means to be an Arab and what our stories are. The Kennedy Center will host Funny Arabs at the Millennium Stage on Saturday, September 9th, 6 p.m. Based on those couple jokes there, sounds like it'd be pretty good, right? And that's your daily comedy news for today. Thank you to Factor and DraftKings for supporting today's show. Follow the show for free on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, wherever you get your shows. Summer's over.